Okay, welcome back again to another tutorial, and again I will continue with the AF Micro Nikkor 60mm 1.2.8D, which have a little problem with the brush unit that sits well, somewhere inside here. No, maybe it's over here. Well, we zoom out a little, just a little, get more space. See, if you have seen the other film about this particular lens, where I show where you go into the blades, but this time I will go in from the back and show how you actually go into it, because it's a little tricky because of the gear over here. That is a bit yeah, tricky. So let's jump into this nice lens. I called it a flower because it looked like all the leaves will come out like this. Well, so let's have a look. We will actually begin with the front, which is here, the small set screw, which I need 1.2mm screw, flathead screwdriver, and just loosen the screw. No need for taking it out. So turn it counterclockwise, and then easy, comes off. So, and there's no need to actually take any lens off. It's not necessary, but I need to take the 3 screws here that hold the focus ring. It will make it a lot easier to show what actually go inside here. Someone do it in another way. Well, I will just show how I did it. So loosen this screw and the last one over here. There's no need for taking them out. So have a good grip here, and then turn it counterclockwise as it comes off. Now, then the focus ring comes off. It can only go that way, not that way. So it's impossible to put it wrong on the lens or the focus ring. So we probably will need it, but I will just show how it actually is disassembled. See, there is a kind of a retaining ring around the lens body, and there are 3 screws, one here, there, and there. They probably sit in another position on your lens, but in this lens it just sit here. So loosen them only, and the 3rd one. So loosen this retaining ring as it come off. It can only sit in one direction, not like that, but like that. So now the AF and manual focus switch ring, if you move it, you will move this ring here, but we do not actually need that ring. So I could just set it to M, but and then should be possible to lift it out here, click, Assess, and sew it off. Don't even think about loosening this screw, unscrew it, because there's a plate underneath here. And if you unscrew it and you don't really know how to go into the lens, this part will jump into the lens. Well, that's not good. So that's the beginning, and the lens is set to manual focus by the focus ring, so I can move it with no problem. So how do we actually get into the gear and that? It took me a while, but I figured out. First we need to take off the plastic ring here and the contact here. So let's do that. I need a PH00, which I have modified to fit perfect in the screw, just like a JIS00. And I would recommend that you use a JIS or modified like I have. So this come off. There are 3 screws, small screws, and there are 2 even tinier. So, and the last one. So, put them aside. And then the other 2 here. Well, maybe I should just take off the ring. I use a dentist tool. No, I am not a dentist, but I like the tools. So this plastic ring comes off. Now the switch board or contact board or whatever connects into the camera, which I also have to unscrew fully with the 2 screws here. And the other one. So now there are 4 screws around here, which I also need to take out, but there are only 3 that is connected to the body itself. This screw, it's close to the distance point, and the next one over here beside the screwdriver focus thing, and the 3rd one here. Now this one is only a short screw that screws into the part that hold the focus. No, I mean the aperture ring here. So I will just begin with that here, and maybe I should use a bigger screwdriver. Where did it go? Because it's better, it gives more good grip. This is a PH0, which I also have modified to JIS fit screws. It works pretty good. Keep a finger here underneath so you have a good grip, because when we come into the parts here, we need to we actually need to take a bit care of the aperture pin, which is here. So by setting it to something like 32, no 32, maybe it's easier to have a good grip on here, and then hold the body here. Now the contact here, which to pull out a little. Take care of it. It's fragile a bit, so don't pull it too much. Now I will take off the mount here, holding the aperture ring, and just lift it out. So it is. And the aperture pin, take care of this part here, so you not pull it too much, and then you could break the flex. So it could be a little tricky by doing so. So this is actually how it looks when the aperture, maybe it's difficult to see. Where do I have some light? Well, I will show it anyway. See, it's very short, but really it's enough. Because when the lens expanding, there's another longer what you say, piece of metal that push on the aperture here, and inside the lens there's one even longer. Now then I need to expand the lens to something near end. Well, maybe I should have expanded before I took off the mount, but doesn't really matter. I will do so and have a good grip. See, to get off the aperture ring, I will just pull it out like this, and the gear axle here, this one, will also come off. There are, in this lens, there's actually 2 spacers that has to sit correct. So let's talk about that. See, of course I've been into the lens before, but if one set a mark here or a mark here, so one could use a red pen here, permanent marker, and just make a mark here and here, so you know where it is. I mean, the repair manual for this lens is really bad because it doesn't tell much about how to disassemble things. So I have to figure it out myself. But those 2 has to sit correct. See, the big area over here is where the gear is, and the axle from the camera, and over here it's the aperture lock pin. So it can only sit in one way. So let's take this off, and let's get into it. There is a connection pin, a ring from the aperture. This, it can only sit in one way, so this goes here, so its movement is all the way over here, as you can see. And there's another important thing. This plastic thingy here has to sit there in that position. So when you put the mount back again and the aperture ring, this one has to sit there, not there, like somebody could think, because then it will move, yeah, but it will actually move all the way over to this position, so therefore it has to sit there when you assemble the lens again. Now off with that, and then we can see the gear. This one here, interesting thing. So but how about getting into that? See, the lens has to be expanded as much as possible. It will say at near end, something like this. I mean, it's impossible to assemble, disassemble the lens when the lens is at infinity, like this one. So it has to go all the way up to near end. So, and now we are ready to jump into here. Be aware of there is a small contact brush which switches between the manual and the auto focus. The limit has to say at full, so this one has to be there at full. Okay, this one can go up and down and take care of it, because the little brush somewhere over here, I think it was. No, over here, I guess. Well, so at near end, important. And then I will just take out one screw from here. It's the one here. I will unscrew that fully, and because then it's possible to take out the gear in that way. So if I loosen this, just loosen it lightly and move the gear out to something here. Well, you might think, okay, we'll go into the lens. Nope, it will not. But it will make it much easier to take off the plastic housing here. See, and then we have 3 screws. It can only sit in one way, but don't be confused about that. You could just set a mark, some here, which have connection to the distance mark. Do whatever it is most easy, but it works actually. So the 3 screws are the same length, not that long. So and this one. Now keep some fingers on here so the ring here is not really moving. Then it should be possible to just lift this out. I mean, it has to move a little as long as this is here, because this connection here also need to come out. And when it's almost free, we can bend it over here so the connection here is free, and then lift it out. See something fall down. This one has to sit there, even if I can just move it without any problem. So now we are inside the more tricky part, and what are we missing? Yeah, we actually miss the brush, which is here. It has to sit somewhere here, as you can see, but I would like to get rid of the other because of the ring here, because this brush you can see here is something very tiny. So those two pin brushes are in there and there. So to not destroy it, I will take out the tiny screw here. So it's actually possible to take out the ring here. So this is how it looks. Now we are actually inside the part of the focusing system, the electronic part. The service manual doesn't really tell much about those parts here. Not the one I have. I mean, one point, another point here. Then I can just loosen this screw and very easy take out the clutch or the gear, part of the gearbox, which will be something easy. A tweezer is necessary, and then it's here. Now I can just move the lens back and forth as I want by holding the one end here. See, this is how it looks. No problem with that. But the brush unit here is the tape is not really good anymore. Not at all sticky or whatever. So I need to renew that. The brush itself actually looks okay. So I will just try to put it in again. So how does this actually sit? Yeah. I think you need to come in first that way and that way. We do it again. So put the the brush unit in. It is faced like this. I mean, the brush is facing that way. So putting the unit in, I first need to put this in here. And then I can press it down a little so it will not fall apart, and move it the opposite direction. So the other notch here actually lock in the brush unit here. So what if I move it gently? It will have to have some kind of what do you say, it has to sit correct somewhere. The repair manual doesn't tell anything about it, so I would guess, without knowing it, that it has to sit like something there. I'm not sure because I actually don't know. You see, you want to move, but it cannot because it's locked in this end. So by moving all the way over here, it looks like, yeah. So let's see if I put the cover over it and have my distance mark. Sorry. It would be possible to put it over like this one over here. Like there. So by setting this to the near end where it goes, then it should be almost possible to see where it ends. But I'm actually not quite sure if it's correct. But in my opinion, it doesn't really matter that much. It just have to sit there. So I will just put on a small piece of good sticky tape, and do it correct. Part of it, yes. Something like there. And the length should be something like it's difficult to see, I know, but how long should it be? Something like that. Or let's see how it's done. Not a bit too long. Why is it always so? Okay, so it works. Oh, get away. Now, It looks okay, but it's a bit too white. So take a bit more of the I mean, it doesn't need that much tape. So put it on. And push gently on it. And now it sits there. Sorry. Yeah, it looks like actually it looks okay to me, but of course I have no reference in the repair manual, which is really bad. So the next thing to do is to put this ring on. Be sure to not damage the very thin brushes. Those are a bit bended and they're really tiny. And those is make the switch between manual focus and autofocus. So this ring goes on here and make a connection here. So if I put the ring on, one should be very careful to keep this in a good position. So and keep your fingers here. So the only thing I can do is put the small screw on here again, so the switch ring will not so. And that's it. Now that was actually part of it. So to put the things back again, lift up this as long as it can and keep your fingers here steady. Now it's time to put the cover on again, but remember this fork also have to sit correct like this. So by doing like this, it should be possible to put this cover over, and you maybe need some yeah, we could do it in another way by put this on here and it is a bit difficult. We could also just take it out again and then turn it over and put this on here, so it stays there. Put a finger on and just this part here has to go over here and catch the pin in the notches here. Possibly it will make it easier. I mean, it could be. Yeah, here we are. I mean, hopefully when I turn it over, it stays there. Good. Be aware of this part here. Come on. So, nothing happened. And then it should be possible to just put it on again, like this. This one can still move up and down. And I can put on the 3 screws here, and then the clutch or gear, whatever it calls. So I think it's almost same way of putting things back into the lens, like the the AFD 105mm, just like this one. So this one can move up and down, which is really good. Now it's time to put the clutch in, which we just take a closer look, just rolling. So it looks like that, and the fork in here, down here, will move up and down when you switch between manual and automatic focus, autofocus, we say. So this get engaged with the part here. Now it moves freely with the as a manual focus, but when it turns on a position, it will engage there, and then the next here will move the gear from the camera. So there's nothing wrong with that. It works actually pretty good. But to get things back in again, yeah, it took me some time to figure out how to do that. So by using a tweezer like this, I think we do so. You see, it should be possible to, maybe you should do like this. So it has to get engaged with the fork in here. So let's see how it actually is in the position. So I would set it there, so it's closest. I mean, this ring has to go towards the front, and I would guess if I put this part here in the lower, it would be possible to come on, it has been there, so it could go there again. Do you mind? I've taken it out and it cannot come in again. What happened? No. Well, you see, to get it out, I need to actually loosen the 3 screws again, just a little, because then it's the space between here is not enough, as I see it. well, maybe some do it in a different way, but I will just loosen it. So it should come, I mean, there should be more space. This is quite annoying. Okay, keep 2 fingers here and then loosen this one here. I mean, unscrew it. It's really a bit tricky the way they made this lens. Maybe the professional knows much better how to do this. I would guess so. But I mean, on the factory, how they sometimes put things in could be interesting to see. So I keep still, fingers here, and move this a little up. Now it should be easier to put this thing in. Oh, sorry, I forgot. Of course, these things need to come off because, yeah, sorry, it's me. Put it there. Of course, it's my fault. So this part needs to come in first, of course. Yes, so it was. Sorry. So I will put it. Do you mind stay there? And then put in 1 screw. And of course move the gear out here so you know where it is. Doesn't matter if it's come all the way over there. So now, just my fault, sorry. So I will do it again. Take care of the brush here. Then flip it over. Put this part in, the fork, and it can only sit one way, like this. And put this housing on. Yeah, like this. See, something like that. See? Okay. Put it on and take care of the... Oh, come on, will you mind? So, and here we are. Whew. Now it's tricky, and this can just fall down here, and it will just sit correct when it goes there. So now we're safe from the very small brushes, and I can just put those screws on again. Sorry for that, but yeah. This goes in. I could have used some thread lock, but I will go into that lens again later. But one could use some nail polish, put it on the screw head so it will not loosen, or one could use some thread lock. Now we are back on track. See, this one, it will move up and down, and the fork has to go as low as, towards the front. So this one should be able to actually unscrew, loosen the screw here at the gear, and then flip it over here, and then it should actually engage with the with the fork. And it should be. It's not always the same as it does. Do what it should do. So now then it should be there. Just have one screw here. So put in the screw, you see here. I could have used some thread lock on this one too, but as I said, I will go into this lens again. So now it should be possible to change how the focusing clutch, if I move it up, it will not, if I push it back, it will not move at all because it's on manual focus. So if I push it forward, it will engage with the gear. So it works, and that's really good. Yeah. So that's actually time to just check the screws here. There. So it's good. Now I can actually just put the ring that makes the change between manual and autofocus, and just put it on here like this, and put it in here, that it engage to the notches here and there. And if I set it to something like autofocus here, no, it should actually stay as, I think it should stay as manual, as I remember. There, because those tracks here, there and there, they will engage with the pin here, there and there. So it has to go in correct. Okay, I will set it to auto, so the lens is actually working as an auto, and try to see if it gets there. And it's not. So it has to stay on manual. Just to be sure, this one has to push all the way here, so it works as manual. Now, then we can put this back on with the pin here, go into that notch here, not this one, but this one, closest to the scale, the distance scale, and there it is. So when I press the button, it says stay as an M, then I can move between A and M M and A. So it is. And if I put it on M right now, I can move it and the gear will not move. So when it's set on A, it will move. So that works. Now put the lock ring for the shift ring, and it has to catch the thread. Can be sometimes hard. It's plastic against oh, come on, sometimes it's a bit difficult, but there it is. And then screw it in, not too tight, but just so it is easy to move the ring. Just loosen it. Wow, it's actually quite good. And then lock the screws. I mean, just tighten them gently. And so. Okay, it was way too tight. Just a little. It pushed against the ring here. So it was a bit too tight. Just loosen them a little. One could use some, put in some nail polish. Just a little. So it works smooth like this one. Very gently and easy. So, now, then I can actually just assemble the lens again, just like it was. This ring has to go in here, like this, and the two spacers has to go like this. We could just take one and the other, make it easier to show. So, and the other one. Sometimes there are more than two. I've seen in other of those lenses, and it's just for adjustment. Now, this is actually ready to put on the aperture ring. But one thing I have to mention, the pin here, that actually the screwdriver connection from the camera to the gear here, there's a small spacer here which has to face like that. So this one goes in here. So it is. I mean, I only know from what I've seen. The repair manual tell nothing about it. Not my repair manual. I mean, it's more easy to just take off the aperture ring, put a finger on here, and hold the pin. Then put the part of the aperture ring on here, and hopefully it will work like this. And then the pin, the gear pin here, you just have to move a little so it engages in the gear like this. Now, so it's time to put the aperture ring on. There's a notch here which is closest to the 32 aperture, and it has to sit like this. The notch here, as you can see, has to engage in the curved aperture ring in here, the metal. So just put it over and move it a little to sit correct. So now it is there, and the mount also have to sit correct, because as I mentioned in the beginning, this plastic part here, which can move, it has to push on this pin here. So when putting things back in the lens, one should put a hand here so it presses against the aperture here. I mean the plastic ring that hold the aperture and the gear here. So this one has to go over there as long as possible, and see, has to stay on 32. When putting this pin in, one can actually where it is, move this as long as it can. See, that's the connection. Difficult to see. This is the connection from the aperture pin from the mount. So therefore, this one has to engage in here like this. I know it's difficult to see, but it will press on the aperture mechanism. So okay, yeah, this one have to flip up here so it stays in a better place, and then put this on again. Okay, it was better. So when I push here, it will move. So I put this as long as over as I can, and it can be a little tricky. So it's there, and then I move the mount backwards so it stays there. Hopefully it would be there. If I move the aperture ring, it actually works. Now, so it's actually time to put on the screws, the black one, if there is one black. It has to sit there where the distance mark is. So put this on, and now we are safe. In a way of, okay, it will not fall apart anymore, but so. And again, I could use some thread lock, but on the screws, but in this case I will do it when I go into the lens one more time, because the lens element needs some cleaning. So we are there again. Be sure not to damage the thin flex cable. It will be like this there. Put it in, and it should be okay. And actually it would be a lot easier to screw the contact unit in place by putting this ring, the back ring, on, and so it stays there, and move it slightly so the holes are in place. Now it's safe to put this in again, and the other one. Set it to 2.8, it will be easier. And the rest of the screws. And the only thing I do I miss is actually the front tube and the front ring and the focus ring, and then it's actually done. So now it's actually done. I mean from the back I can just do so and set it to A, move it so, and put on the focus ring. Can only face one direction, but just put it on, and then you can see it move, which is good. Then I take the front ring, lock ring for the focus ring, and put it on. Gently tighten it. Doesn't need to be too tight. And then lock the 3 screws. You can also use some nail polish if you want, or just let them stay as they are. Now put this in, set it to near end, and put the front tube on. It says click somewhere, click there, and then it goes in, and I can just tighten it gently, and then lock the screw. So, and now I actually have a fully working lens like it was. I mean, some part of the distance when using my flash, it was a bit not good, but now really good. So that was it. So hope you enjoy the content, and can help you if you want to disassemble a lens like this. So bye bye. Please subscribe. Yes, thank you. Bye bye.